Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video on my channel. So a couple of months ago I released a video talking through my AFK methods for necromancy training, and I just wanted to update on what I'm currently doing to finish off 120 necromancy. So I took a massive break, sort of a little bit after that video was released, and I pretty much stopped at 115. However, now I'm starting to get back into the necromancy grind because it's so AFK and because I've got quite a lot of videos to edit. I thought now would be the best time for me just to sort of show what I've been doing, show what I'm doing now, and the monsters I'm looking to camp. So the first one I'm looking to camp, I'm only sort of rotating between one of two or three, because I think it's the best way. And this next monster I'm going to show you now is probably the one I'm going to do for about 90% of my AFK time for necromancy. So we're going to go and be doing Abyssal Beast in my personal slave dungeon. Now the reason I've done Abyssal Beast is because the other Abyssal creatures, the savages, just weren't as good on the drop table. I think with these being in my personal slave dungeon, it really had the potential to be a decent moneymaker as well as AFK combat XP. Now the XP is better anyway, but it turns out that this is even better in terms of the drops. Now I've got enough overloads and aggression potions for about an hour and a half of gameplay, so I'm going to like track what I'm going to get in terms of drops. I'm going to do it a little better as well and just put one of each into the bank as well, just so we can have a full count of what I've made in this hour. So I've made the info a little bit better, so we've got one of each for drops, one of each for the charms, an empty gem bag, and an empty coin pouch. We're going to go and have a little test of Abyssal Beast for an hour and a half, and we'll also reset our necromancy counter just so we can see how much XP we get as well. But Abyssal Beasts have been a huge upgrade for me personally. I'm doing my necromancy training. The souls were quite painful to get. Like, the souls probably took about a good week of consistent Abyssal Beast killing, but they've been worth it ever since. They really are a good AFK. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know what upgrade I've made in terms of my setup, but I can pretty confidently like AFK these hard. Now, what I use, and again, I'll talk through all my setup now. Vampirism is a must for these because of the damage they do. So in terms of the invo, I have the Spring Cleaner because that's what's going to clean up most of the higher rune drops which they're going to drop and really print us a lot of money. The Auto Cleaner goes to work on Abyssal Beasts. Gem bag, one of the bigger drops they do is the uncut dragonstones. They will rack up, so I make sure to have a gem bag. The improved one as well, the upgraded one, it doesn't cost a lot of tokens and it's definitely worth it. So I'm gonna need to make sure to empty this every trip because it does like rack up real quick on the gem front. I take Elder Overloads because I think the little bit of difference between them and a normal or Supreme Overload is noticeable. I think it really does help me in the long term doing a long trip. So I take those. I take aggression flasks just to make it AFK. Again, worth the money just to make it as AFK as it is. Blue charms and crimson charm placeholders because even though I'm 200 mil summoning, you never know when you're going to need some charms. Maybe you're going to go and do a big binding contract session or something like that. So I always collect the charms just in case. Now I take a bunyip. I summon one at war before I leave, and I also take one of my invo. Penance powder. Because this is an hour and a half trip, I do need to bring some penance powder. Don't ask why the stack's so big. I've topped up and just taken it all out in the invo. This spot is for my teleport tab, but it also allows me to pick up some rare drop tables. Because they've been updated as well, there are some decent ones around, just in case, yeah, anything decent comes. Ectoplasm for my familiars. Again, the ghost and the skeleton really do a lot of work in terms of getting me the XP. And the Excalibur just for that, like, last minute, last ditch bit of HP if you ever do need it. Although I very rarely like use Excalibur as well. Like, this setup really is balanced for like big heavy like AFK sessions for doing Abyssal Beast, which can hit a lot. And in terms of the drops, Crystal Keys, Pure Essence, Abyssal Flesh, Gremwall Spikes, Onyx Bolts, which does rack up an awful lot of profit. And then the herbs are Avinto, Irrit, Lanternine, Caventine, Toadflax, and Dwarfweed. In terms of the info, I've got the Vampirism Aura, I've got the Necromancy Zup Cape. I have a Amulet of Blood Fury. Now, I purchased this at the beginning of Necromancy and it's worth every single penny. Like, the Blood Fury and the Blood Shard has come down an awful lot since. And once it's run out to 0%, you just spend 500k to recharge it fully. It's like such a steal for how good it is. I've gone with the full first Necromancy outfit with all the top tier perks. Now, there can be a push to claim that Death Dealer is actually better. And I do believe it as well, because the 20% chance of killing your enemy or your target at 20% really does rack up when you're doing things like this. So Death Dealer could definitely be a shout. Exoplasmator for the ashes gets me some prayer XP, cleans up drops. Really, really worth having. And I've gotten so much prayer XP just from doing these as well. It's helping me towards 120 prayer. And then finally the Omni Guard and the Soulbound Lantern. The tier 90 versions are more than good enough to do this as well, but for me, I've got the tier 95, so I'm going to use the tier 95s as well. But that's pretty much this method for the Abyssal Beast. Just sit in the middle, just make sure to keep on top of your potion. Weapon poison as well provides a little bit of extra damage if you do need it, but it never really causes me any grief. The ghost really does go to work and like heal you if you are desperate as well. I always have blood siphon on my bar because it just comes in clutch every now and then, and it just means it's even less looking at the screen for me, because having that ability on the bar means at some point in time I will go for a big heal and get the heal off because of it. So while we start our AFK trip for Abyssal Beasts, let's talk about the other monsters I'm going to try and kill for 120. So previously, from level 90 to 115, what I did mainly for my necromancy training was God Wars 1. I needed to finish the collection logs. It was decent XP. The drops were through the roof. In terms of armor, I probably made 450 mil to 500 mil, just profit from the pet. And I wasn't in a rush to compete. There was no way I was going to beat the players who were going for rank 1. There was no way, I'm not even max, so I wasn't going to cement a rank by going hard for it. So I may as well have taken my time, which I did, and enjoy the process and use it for a purpose. So I made a lot of money doing God Wars 1 just by training my necromancy, and I actually got it all the way to 115 before I finally sort of burnt out as such and decided to do something new. But now we're back to it, and I want to get this finished before the end of the year, because I think it'd be quite cool for a video I've got planned for the end of the year to have 120 necromancy as a skill ticked off as well. So Abyssal Beast is going to be the bulk of what I'm going to be training on. It's nice AFK, and it can suit me when I need to AFK for videos. However, the other monsters I'm looking to train on, so I made a video the other day about Corp, so we're definitely going to be looking at Corp to do it. It's going to be quite a difficult boss log that, and it's definitely going to be one more long term than a quick, like, knock it out and finish it nice and early. So Corp will be good, and hopefully Corp will bring in like a fair bit of GP as well, plenty of Spirit Shield and plenty of content from it as well. The other monster is going to be the Catfight Queen. Now, I've already done 500 Catfight Queen kills, and I think the threshold goes down every 1,000, but I want to go and finish that log just while the mechanics are how they are. You never know if they're going to update Catfight Queen to the point where it can protect for Necromancy, whereas now, because Necromancy isn't protected on Catfight Queen, you can absolutely chew through kills at record speed, and you can try and get it pet as quick as possible. Not only that, because of how Necromancy is, Catfight Queen is quite AFK, and if you've not noticed, I do really like the AFK. We've got plenty of videos for you guys for this month, so I need to be doing something which is progressing this account, but also AFK enough where I can not pay too much attention to it, which is why something like Abyssal Beast works absolutely perfect. In terms of a bar, nothing too impressive. It's just your standard AoE bar. I use the Ghost, Descals, the Scythe, and then some basics. The Skeleton Warrior does some work as well, and I always have that Blood Siphon towards the end. But what I'll do, I'm going to go and sit in AFK away for the next sort of 10 overload doses. As you can see, we've already racked up a mil just in the time I've been sat here talking to you guys, and I don't think I've been talking that long. So that goes to show, like, through sheer alchemy balls and onyx bolts and all the other stuff, these are a good way to AFK some serious profit, not just XP, but also serious profit as well. We are tracking the XP. We've already done 125k. So with it just being near 15 minutes, quite easily about 500k an hour. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go an AFK away, going to go and edit a video, do something on the bond account as well. I'll come back afterwards just to give you a full rundown of how much I've made in an hour and a half of Abyssal Beasts. Talk through the profits, positives and negatives, and just let you guys think on everything we've got to say afterwards. Right, so the final overload and aggression potion have worn out. Because I was a bit sloppy with it, it actually lasted for 2 hours. We did 2 Vampirism auras. I just used my Premier Pass to reset Vampirism. So this is loot from 2 hours worth of Abyssal Beasts. So we've got 60 Dragon Stones in the pouch. So we'll just add like another 300k onto the end. So in terms of the cash stack, 9.3 mil. And then we've got the Crystal Keys, Pure Essence, Abyssal Flesh, Grenwalls, and then finally the big chunk will come from the Onyx Bolts. So that's 6.3 mil on top of the 9.4 mil. So that's 6.3 mil plus 300k from the Dragonstone, so 6.6 on top of the 9.4-ish, roughly rounding up. So we're going to be about 16 mil we've made from those Abyssal Beasts. So roughly about 8 mil per hour we've made just from training Necromancy, hard AFK. Now the reason that 1.5 hours of overload and aggression lasted for 2 hours is because I wasn't paying attention and I just overrun and I just didn't use my overloads. In terms of XP, we got a total of 1.5 mil necromancy. So that's 750k necromancy XP per hour, hard AFK. So, yeah. The bosses I mentioned earlier on, Catfight Queen, Corporal Beast, will probably be nowhere near that XP. You're talking probably like 3 to 400k at the bosses. You might make similar GP at Corp. You won't make it at Catfight Queen, but I've accepted that. I'm just doing that for the boss logs. If you wanted a pure way to train your necromancy in terms of combat stats, if you have access to your personal Slayer dungeon and you have the Slayer level to kill them, they are a Slayer level of... You do need 105 Slayer to do those as well. So 105 Slayer to do Abyssal Beasts, get the souls and take them to your personal Slayer dungeon. It just means that they're much closer together, way more easy to AFK. Pre-warning note, the souls did take me a little while. They took me the best part of about a week just AFKing, but I did train necromancy during it as well. In terms of the setup, I would take the same setup as I have here, as well as a cannon as well, because you are able to cannon them there. And just, yeah, pretty much do it from there. So that's going to be this episode. I'm pretty much going to AFK my necromancy all the way to 120. I know you guys really enjoyed the previous time I did my run through of necromancy training. Again, not as spread out as before, but this one is going to be my single method, along with the 2 boss logs as well, all the way to 120. Now, if you're not able to do Abyssal Beasts, you can do Abyssal Savages. And if you can't do Abyssal Savages, the Banned Skeletons still work. Similar to the video I did before, again, I'll put that in the link if you guys are a little bit lower than 105 Slayer requirements. But you can pretty much use Necromancy anywhere. God Wars 1 is really good to train, and you'll make a lot of money while doing it as well. Or you can go and try Necromancy at Slayer, and you'll also get some very decent XP rates as well. But what I would recommend, as soon as you have access to your personal Slayer dungeon, make sure to use it, because it is one of the best ways to A, make money, and B, AFK as well. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy this guide. If you have, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next video.